Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
Cavs vs. Raptors provided us plenty of entertainment in Game 5. Also, the Pistons fought off the Magic to keep the series alive, and the Philadelphia Eagles are ready to fly.
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
The Cavs had a hard time finding their footing in Game 5 versus the Raptors. Locked On Cavs host Danny Cunningham reacted to a tough contest before the series flips back to Toronto.
I think it's fair to describe this game as a heartbreaker for the Raptors because by golly, were they in it until the very end. They gave themselves such a great chance. And look, it is the playoffs. I think if you asked Darko Rakovic and his team, they wouldn't be looking for moral victories at this point. They don't necessarily matter at this point of the season, especially now with their season on the brink of elimination. But considering the circumstances, with the fact that you lose Brandon Ingram in this game, who leaves in the second quarter with heel inflammation, it's an injury he's dealt with before in the season, so we'll have to wait and see what his status is. So no BI. Emmanuel quickly was already not playing in this game. He's not playing for the rest of the series. Then Scotty Barnes gets hurt and he plays through it. He looks banged up for pretty much the entirety of the second half. You're doing this on the road as well, which obviously is harder for teams in the playoffs, but the fact that the Raptors have yet to beat the Cavs in the on the road in the playoffs ever, they're now 0-10 after this. And then you have the Cavaliers hitting pretty much everything like they were in Game 1 and 2 of the series. James Harden, 23 points, 7 of 13. Donovan Mitchell, 19 points, 7 of 17. Not the most uber efficient, but really timely and loud shots for them. Evan Mobley bounced back after his 2 rough games in Toronto. He has 23 points, 8 of 13 for him, and again, some timely buckets. Considering those circumstances, again, the Raptors gave themselves a chance by accomplishing so much of what they wanted to do identity-wise. They forced 15 turnovers for 28 points. Talk about converting on the mistakes from Cleveland. They take care of business there. And all of that kind of juices them in transition. 24-6 on the fast break. They gave up something like 11 second chance points early on to the Cavs in the first half where they were just kind of getting beat on the glass. The Raptors end up giving up 0 second chance points the rest of the game, and they kind of take over that category, winning at 13-11. So they were doing a lot of what you kind of needed them to do. Scotty Barnes, especially early, was kind of orchestrating everything. Those at-rim assists to Jakob Poeltl, who we'll talk about, who had a pretty good bounce-back game for himself. Scotty Barnes finishes with 25 points, 9 of 19. He gets the line for 9 free throws as well, hits 5 of them, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. RJ Barrett was doing RJ Barrett things, just constantly bullying his way into the paint, especially in that third quarter where he had 9 points. Very instrumental in the Raptors trying to keep ahead in this game. He finishes with where was it here? Sorry, with 25 points. Sorry, Scotty Barnes had 17 points. RJ Barrett had a game high 25. Scotty with 17 on 6 of 16, 11 assists. RJ Barrett had the 12 rebounds. So they're both kind of doing their thing. A really nice bounce back game for Jacoby Walter, who had 20 points. He had that really big third quarter with 11 points, hitting 3 threes and helping the Raptors stay ahead. But like ultimately what this game came down to was the fourth quarter. The Raptors ran out of gas. They were up 3 heading into the fourth quarter where, again, they gave themselves a chance and they got outscored 25-17, which is truly unfortunate considering the fact that the Raptors were the best fourth quarter scoring team in the NBA throughout the first couple games of the playoffs. But they just weren't able to hit shots. They went through spurts where they weren't able to get baskets to go. In the third quarter, you saw it a little bit where they had 2 different spurts of I want to say 2 to 3 minutes where they weren't able to score. But in the fourth quarter, they started the first 4 minutes of the quarter without scoring a basket. Just nothing was coming easy for them. They gave up an 8-0 run. They ended up shooting 7 of 28 in the quarter, 2 of 12 from deep. And the cherry on top of all of it was Dennis Schroeder, of all people, was carving up the Raptors. The former Raptor scored 11 of his 19 points in the fourth quarter. And it was just this encapsulation of the fact that the Raptors just kind of ran out of counter punches. Constantly after the Cavs were kind of making their moves and kind of making their run, the Raptors would have a response. Again, especially in the third quarter, you had RJ Barrett and Jamal Sheck kind of leading that charge, but they just didn't have it in the fourth. And that's a testament to the fact that they were missing Brandon Ingram, I think. It was to speak to the fact that Scotty kind of ran out of juice as well. The shots stopped falling for Jacoby. At a certain point, RJ Barrett can drive his way into the paint only so many times before the Cavs can just collapse on it and kind of stop the positive momentum you gain out of that. So the Raptors truthfully kind of just ran out of answers late. And it was unfortunate because, again, this is a heartbreaker. The Raptors gave themselves a very real chance to win this game, but ultimately they just didn't have enough left in the tank for it. And them's the breaks. It's the playoffs. They didn't kind of execute how they wanted to down the stretch. I think that was a big part of it too. The Cavs offense kind of took it away from them. And it's something where the Raptors have no choice but to respond now because obviously their season is on the line. But something I wanted to make sure I touched on as well was obviously losing Brandon Ingram this game and what that meant for what the Raptors were doing.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Yeah, look, the Raptors were able to, on the box score, accomplish a lot without Brandon Ingram in this game when he left in the second quarter. They actually won the second quarter 40-29. Again, a big part of that was the fact that Jacoby Walter went a little nuclear there. He ends up, again, with 11 points of his 20 in the second quarter. But I just felt like this moment showed how much harder things look without Brandon Ingram on the floor, especially with Scotty Barnes hobbled. Like, BI has not had a good series. Entering this game, he was averaging 14 points on like 34% shooting. I think we all know that. But his gravity is vital for what this team is looking to accomplish offensively. His spacing, like I've talked about it before, his interior gravity in terms of how much teams pay attention to him is among the highest in the league, especially throughout the regular season. And the Cavaliers obviously pay a ton of attention to him in terms of what they want to accomplish defensively.
Stay up to date all year on the Cleveland Cavaliers by subscribing to Locked On Cavs on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. The NBA playoffs are rolling along where every possession matters, every matchup is magnified, and every game can swing a series. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a great way to get in on the action. You can bet just $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. The app makes it easy to follow the action with player stats, trends, and matchups all in one place. And during the playoffs, that extra insight really matters when you're looking at stars, role players, and key moments. It just makes the entire playoff experience more engaging from start to finish. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel, play your game. MLB, the scorching hot Braves face Tarik Skubal and the Tigers.
Matt Olson with the walk-off home run. The Atlanta Braves come back to beat the Detroit Tigers in a game started by Tarik Skubal. I mean, this team right now, just unbelievable with what you're seeing. Never really a doubt in this one. I mean, they hung around. They kept the game right there, 3-2. Had a chance in the 8th inning. Really thought Drake Baldwin was going to come through in that spot. Had a really good at-bat, but unable to get it done. That's okay. 9th inning, Kenley Jansen, one of the best closers of all time. First runner gets on, Ozzie takes a walk, and then Matt Olson absolutely destroys a baseball for a walk-off 2-run home run. The Atlanta Braves win the second game of the series, which means they're going to continue their streak of the only team not to lose a series this year. What a special beginning to this season for the Atlanta Braves. What a game for them. Just a really great game overall. Like I said, J.R. Ritchie battled in this one early on. Tarik Skubal on the other side. Ozzie with the 2-run homer in the first inning. And that was it until the 9th inning with Matt Olson's 2-run homer to seal the victory for the Atlanta Braves. We'll talk more about this one over on the postcast and Locked On Braves.
The Marlins stunned the Dodgers in L.A.
Well, the Dodgers are in full-on zombie mode at the plate, sleepwalking through another 1-run loss to the lowly Marlins. They had the leadoff runner on in the 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th, and 9th, and were only able to produce 1 run out of all of that. Far too many ducks involved with this one. They fall behind on a pretty good pitch from Will Klein that turned into a duck snort and the game-winning RBI. And they left far too many ducks on the pond. 9 runners in all left on base, going 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position. They better find some clutch fast on this road trip, or it's going to continue to get uglier.
And on the ice, the Lightning fought with the Canadians.
The Habs taking a series lead for the 3rd time, and there's 3 major storylines in that one. The first is obviously Brendan Gallagher making his presence immediately known once he's inserted back into the lineup with a very early goal. A lot of good, strong work by Newhook on him. So not only did he make his presence felt, but he also sparked Newhook, who's struggling a little bit. Another major storyline, obviously, is Jakub Dobeš standing on his head. 38 shots blocked out of 40, really winning that game for Montreal in that 3rd period. Particularly in the last few minutes of that game. Not to discount his work, though, Montreal overall did something really key to this series, which is make things difficult for Tampa Bay. There were a lot of shots on goal. A lot of them, though, Jakub Dobeš was easily able to see and block. Montreal working really hard to just make it hard for Tampa to do anything. And that's going to be the key to the next 1 or 2 games if the Montreal Canadiens want to win. For more, check out the podcast.
In a winner-go-home game, the Pistons woke up in Game 5 to keep their series versus the Magic alive. Locked On Magic host Philip Rossman-Reich knows that while it might be a minor setback, the series is still Orlando's to lose.
It's about those plays on the margins. The most important or the most decisive or the decisive play of this game really paints that picture. Orlando scrambling to get back into the game, cuts it to 3 on a three-pointer by Paolo Banchero for his 45th points of the night. His, what is it? Well, how many threes did he have tonight? It was his, no, don't do that to me. His 6th three-pointer of the night. Cuts the lead down to 3 with less than a minute to play. Orlando is right in the game. All they have to do is get a stop. Not an easy thing in this game because this was a weird game between the Magic and the Pistons. And they get that stop. They forced Tobias Harris into a late shot clock shot. He has to shoot over Paolo Banchero playing perfect defense. And when the ball ricochets off the back iron, it falls into no man's land. Nobody is there. It's about will. It's about desire. It's about who's going to get there first. And look, unlike many of the other offensive rebounds that happened in this game, this was not necessarily anybody's fault. This was two players trying their hardest to get to the ball. Jalen Suggs got there first, couldn't corral it. Asar Thompson got there next, could get it, dug it out, got it to his man, got it to his teammate Cade Cunningham, and then Cade did his work from there for, I believe that was his 45th point. He hits a jumper that makes it a 5-point game with less than 30 seconds to play, and now all of a sudden, the math isn't quite mathing the way it used to. The Pistons won because they dug out that offensive rebound, even though that was a pure 50-50 ball. I'm not going to fault Jalen Suggs' effort on that play. It was emblematic of how the Pistons won all of those points on the margins. 16 offensive rebounds to Orlando's 8. The team that has won offensive rebounds in each one of the games in this series has won the game. So even though Orlando was right there in second chance points, 22-21 in second chance points in favor of the Pistons, those extra shots and those extra possessions were the difference. Those extra opportunities are what get you. And because Detroit had, I believe, 10 of those 16 offensive rebounds in the first half, Orlando was playing uphill. Orlando was playing from behind because on top of that, the Magic fouled a lot. Pistons were in the bonus by the midpoint of the first quarter, and Paolo had 2 fouls very early in this game. He stuck through it, played through them. No one fouled out in this game, so not the end of the world. But the Magic were caught from behind from the very start of the game. The Magic were playing catch-up. Every time it felt like the Magic were about to get a stop, about to get that big momentum play, a foul, an offensive rebound, or even worse, a missed free throw. Orlando, despite getting to the line plenty in this game, shot 16 for 30. That's just one free throw better than 50%. Detroit was 28 for 35, so they got to the line too. But 16 for 30 from the foul line, that's not defense. I like to joke that there's free throw defense. That's not defense. That's all on you. And Paolo Banchero, despite how brilliant he was 5 for 12 from the line. He lost by 7. It was a 3-point game in the last minute. And he missed 14 free throws. That's all self-inflicted wounds. That's all things you can control. And that's what this series has been about. Even without Franz Wagner, Orlando's defense was game as long as they could get set. Detroit did have 19 fast break points. They won fast break points 19-14. Orlando closed that gap later in the game. But when the Magic could get their defense set, like Cade had it a little bit easier than he had in previous games. I'm not going to deny that. Like certainly Cade had a better game than you would expect. But the Magic's defense was plenty engaged, had plenty of opportunities to get stops. And every time it felt like they were getting that big stop or making that big play to get them over the hump, self-inflicted wound, a foul at a wrong time, a bad shot maybe, but a foul at the wrong time, a missed free throw, a turnover at critical junctures. Orlando got it down to 2. They were trailed by 17, as much as 17 in this game. They got it down to 2 in the third quarter and had multiple cracks to take the lead. Missed some open shots. That happens. But then Detroit extended it back out to 7. And then they kept it out around 7, 8, 9 points, up to 10 points in the fourth quarter before Orlando and really Paolo Banchero made a huge run to get back into it. You're in a lot better shape if you take care of the things you need to take care of. Again, I think I've said this several times throughout the course of this series. This series, with how good both of these defenses are, it's about the margins.
Stay up to date all year on the Orlando Magic by subscribing to Locked On Magic on your favorite podcast app. Coming up, the Eagles got away with it again. The Eagles are looking to take a trip back to the Super Bowl this season, and they look ready to fly after grabbing Makai Lemon in the first round and then using picks to obtain edge rusher Jonathan Grenard from the Vikings. Locked On NFL host Tyler Rowland and Michelle Majuk discuss whether Philly has done what they needed to do to reclaim the division.
I think the Eagles did about everything that they could do to give themselves a good spot, whether it be the pick of Makai Lemon in the first round, jumping up in front of Pittsburgh and stealing him away from Pittsburgh, one of the spiciest moves of the NFL draft, but also making the trade for Jonathan Grenard, getting him for 2 third-round picks to add back into the pass rush, which they really, really needed. Am I crazy here, or are you impressed with what the Eagles have done over the draft weekend?
No, I think they added necessary pieces on defense and free agency. And I think they made it so that they could trade away A.J. Brown without it being too big of a deal, right? And yes, they got a little lucky there with Makai Lemon starting to fall and then doing the trade up perfectly in time to not, get sniped by the Steelers taking Makai Lemon. And I mean, I think that's such a good ad for them, especially knowing that AJ Brown is all but gone, right? So Devonta Smith, I really love, but he is on the skinnier side. You got to give him some help out there. So Makai Lemon, I just feel like his yards after catchability, his body control, he's just a smaller size AJ Brown a little bit, right? I like the addition there. And then they also added other role players in the wide receiver role, in Hollywood Brown and Dontavian Wicks and Elijah Moore. Those are not guys you have to lean on, no, but still they're going to be a part of your offense. And then I love their second round pick, Eli Stowers at tight end. They just had a really good start to their draft for sure.
That's what I was going to add in, Eli Stowers. He's a guy who's kind of a wide receiver, tight end tweener, you could say. But when you lose A.J. Brown, you need a little bit of size. You get that with Dontavian Wicks. You get that with Eli Stowers. You need some contested catchability, some yards after catchability. You're going to get that with Makai Lemon. He just fits so well. We're not the only people who think so. My guy, Louis DiBiase from Locked On Eagles, talked about the fit of their first-round pick.
There's a reason people compare him to fellow USC alma mater and now Detroit Lions star receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown. Daniel Jeremiah says Makai Lemon's a receiver that plays like a running back, has the mentality of a linebacker. He is really hard to tackle in the open field. He is so good at breaking tackles, at turning a 5-yard play, a 3-yard play, a negative 2-yard reception behind the line of scrimmage into a first down, into a 20-plus yard explosive play. I mean, he had more first down receptions last year than pretty much anybody in college football. So I think that's what I'm most excited about when it comes to Makai Lemon. He is really going to help in an area of weakness for this offense. And Vanderbilt tight end, the Eagles second-round pick, Eli Stowers, I think he's also going to be used in that way a lot. Vanderbilt used him in a lot of creative ways last year, getting him the ball in space.
And the Eagles have to be more creative on offense this year, right? I mean, with everything that happened last year, they didn't use a lot of motion. The offense was stuck in the mud. Passing offense was worst in the NFL. That ultimately is what caused A.J. Brown to go off the deep end, right? So maybe you add in some different kind of weapons. Maybe you force Jalen Hurts to play a little bit differently by having some of these guys like Makai Lemon. A.J. Brown, he could do a lot of different things, quick slant, stuff like that, but getting him down the field on the sideline is always where, his bread is going to be buttered. So now you got some guys who live over the middle of the field, work over the middle of the field, and hopefully that'll allow Jalen Hurts to maybe feel more comfortable over the middle of the field and allow the Eagles offense to evolve a little bit.
And honestly, everyone was like, oh, it stinks not to get something this year for A.J. Brown, right? If you're going to get a draft pick, you want it for this year. But with this draft being so underwhelming in a lot of ways in talent, maybe this is the best thing for them. Be like, all right, we'll take a 2027 first, like over a 2026 first. Absolutely. Right. So yeah, they have to wait a year to get, value for AJ Brown, but I think it'll be well worth that wait. And for them already being able to, we don't know if Makai Lemon's going to hit, but it feels like a good probability to backfill AJ Brown's position. You're not going to get exactly AJ Brown production probably right off the bat, but I do think that makes it much easier to swallow that you are going to move on from him. And then with what they did on their defense, like trading for Jonathan Grenard, and they added a couple other pieces in free agency on the edge too, and Arnold Ebiketie and Joy Troyan, Shoyinka, and these are not guys that are like elite. But when they were at their best is when they had all the depth on their defensive line. So keep adding to that depth. They already have, they have their elite defensive lineman in Jalen Carter, right, in the inside. So, and Jordan Davis is a good defensive player as well. So I think they're doing all the right things this offseason.
Coming up, can the Hawks, Nuggets, and 76ers push their respective series to Game 7? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.